You wanted to see the all-new Mercedes GLC Coupe? We deliver. Here it is in the new generation with Thomas and Autogefühl for you in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. And this Frontier will look like this in the Avantgarde trim and in the AMG line. The GLC SUV has a different Avantgarde front grille. Here you always get the sportier front grille with the micro-star pattern. However, if you have the AMG line, like we have here today, then in lower part you have these sportier accentuations in the lower part. LED, see the small signature here, 2-dot design, optional digital light. We have it here for even more high beam performance. The length at 4.76 m or 187 inches. That means it's a little bit longer than the predecessor and also a little bit longer than the SUV brother. We're soon going to take a look at the trunk, how this affects it. And we can see here the obvious thing, the falling roofline, minus 3.5 centimeters if you compare it to the SUV, forming this really strong hip area, so a very sensual design. Do you love it or do you hate it when you go SUV coupe? Tell me in the comments which team are you on. Then the wheels, 19-inch standard with AMG line. These are the 20-inch wheels, really massive style in black. And if you want even more black, like the side mirrors and also the frames here around, you could go for the night package, but I think the chrome contrast here works very well. Talking about contrast, you have these side steps here and they look kind of cool, I think at least, but maybe you don't. They also have an aerodynamic advantage. The only disadvantage is when they are dirty, you might also put stains on your pants. So let's imagine you prefer the coupe and you're in discussion with your home government. Then you could get a very good argument for it because this one is the more efficient and more aerodynamic form. If you compare it to the SUV, just the wind flow is better actually. What is the same with the SUV is that you can optionally get the air suspension, both front rear axle, that is combined with the rear axle steering, and up to 4.5 degrees the rear axle can steer in the opposite direction than the front wheels, reducing the turning circle by a meter, and that, I can tell you, helps massively. And also up to a threshold of 60 kilometers an hour or 40 miles an hour, you are just more agile in corners at slower speeds. It's definitely a technology highlight and it also sets it apart in this very aspect from the competition. The only difference with the coupe here is that you always start with a fixed sport suspension, then have to go optionally. The SUV would have the choice between the sport and the comfort suspension, actually the non-adaptive one. Visually here, yeah, that's of course something different. Look at here the light signature. And if you look very, very closely, you can see this middle part here is actually not equipped with a light, but it is also not completely black. It is a very, very dark red, like the color of the tail lamps. In the lower part, Autogefühl fake exhaust police alert, because these are just beauty tips. The key fob, very good impression indeed, and door closing sound, also very solid, like that. Inside of the doors also looks like very good quality from the build quality. Then here we also have the optional Burmester sound system. Here, not the biggest fan of the seat controls. In this new generation, they don't give a real feedback. It's just by a touch, and also this one button design here, for example, for the seat heating. You have reasonable space here at the inside of the doors. And then let's take a look at this also AMG interior, where we have these perforations at the side of the steering wheel, also the two horizontal spoke design. And seats, they are available with full article leatherette, for example, or also in the AMG line in Europe, at least microfiber on the inside. This is the optional animal skin equipment, but you can get the same look and feel also animal free. They offer the choices. Then let's get inside, and 1.89 m or 6'2". I still have some headroom left, and there is big news here with the new GLC Coupe generation, because one of the things that customers complained about this vehicle, or majorly, was that there was just this very small roof here. The small, you couldn't really say panoramic roof. Now they have a panoramic roof, and you can open it with this slider here, and you can see it moves over. You can also see it from the outside there. Hello. So, and it has a substantial opening. You can also see it here from the interior. So this is a big step forward, and especially for existing customers, of course. Steering wheel goes here up and down electronically, and the seating position overall is quite comfy indeed. Really looking forward to the situation in the rear seats. And there we are with the rear. So that's the same equipment here, of course, and also the inside of the doors. Once again, you don't see like hard black plastic or something, just, you know, in that area, but here everything is covered. And lovely how the ambient lighting is also integrated for the rear passengers. That's pretty cool, actually. So we know that the GLC has longer wheelbase now in this generation. That means a little bit more legroom. Of course, it's not like super plentiful because, you know, when you have a tall driver, it still works. Especially here with this recess, so it's okay actually. And headroom, yes, of course, you always lose some if you compare it to the GLC SUV. But here I do fit in here. I can even put a hand over my head. Again, it's better in a GLC SUV, but I think I can live with that compromise. The only thing is that the rear bench is a little bit steeper. What about the middle part here? It's actually feasible. That works maybe for shorter trips, not the ideal position, but it actually works. So overall, I think you can live with the compromise that Coupé is offering here. In the middle part here, you have once again these very nice air vents, also with clicking sound, and then also a separate climate unit. Interior cockpit overview. To me, the coolest thing is actually that you're not stuck with the high gloss black. You can also go for this mesh structure. And I also heard there's a carbon fiber coming up. So really cool that we not only have this high gloss black all over the place actually. Vertical screen, soon more details for that. And of course, very obvious, these air vents here, illumination inside, clicking sounds. That's also cool actually, just that they're not 100% aligned here. I told them that and they try to look into this then now. And what's also pretty cool is that when you change the temperature here in the lower part, here's always this effect that it goes warmer and colder also visually in the air vents. Steering wheel in this new generation looks cooler, feels better actually, has a better size, just a sportier approach. In combination with air suspension and rear axle steering, also more direct, very interesting. And very cool shifting pedals here as well. The only thing is that these hashtag capacitive BS buttons here, to control them while driving, you get used to it, but still it's worse than with real buttons to control it. But what you can control with it is pretty cool. Here we go, you can pick different styles, for example, Sport, yeah, or Map, full screen. Or what about the off-road gauges? They are standard actually, not only come with the off-road package, and have the best visualization as for showing off. And there's also an off-road mode for the optional head-up display, which also looks coolest. And guess what? Here in the infotainment system, the off-road view also looks coolest actually. If you want to see the special off-road see-through bonnet camera in action, check out our SUV GLC review. Here in the lower part, you have the climate unit then with the, with the touch here, once again a close-up. It works. I still prefer the physical knobs, but am I too old for this? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. The visualization here itself is pretty cool. The hybrid here, the plug-in hybrid, also has like a battery hold function. You can keep the battery status and so on. 31 kilowatt hours is the capacity, pretty massive for a plug-in hybrid. So you can go like full electric, like 100 kilometers or 60 miles or something. So that's cool. This is the internal map, but you can of course always go Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then the integration looks like this. And the Burmester sound system is really cool. This is, by the way, one of my favorite songs of all time, by the way. And it sounds just amazing with this system. And even more obvious, the capability of this system, pure, the sound comes from the front, like in a concert, and then switching to 3D surround, it's all around. Hear the difference? Amazing, right? Pure surround. Then here you have cup holders. They are oh, that's magic, right? Look at that once again. Ta-da! But then again, they don't hold heavier or glass bolts that tight actually. And then you have two USB-C chargers in front, also inductive charging pad, and overall, quite some space. Well, probably you can't split water or the ocean, but at least you can split the armrest here. This privacy glass is actually standard, both for Coupé and SUV. You can depick it if you don't like it, but at least for the Coupé, I would strongly recommend you to stick with it, because then you can only hardly see what's in the trunk. Well, why is it important? Let me tell you. Here, folding or flipping the logo is opening that one. And then you can actually see what I mean. The backpack fits in here, but then in the Coupé, because of the limited height, this cover here doesn't go over it. So I would actually, in the coupe, remove this one and just rely on the privacy glass. Then here the width is actually more than a meter or 40 inches, so good width overall. Let's say the height here, you know, the question is where do we measure it as a coupe? Like the highest point, it would be more, you know, like 60 centimeters or 24 inches. But here, then it's, for example, only like 37 centimeters or about 14 inches. So this is the thing you lose. However, the total length is where you gain with the coupe, where the SUV would end like here. You are here at about 105 centimeters, or it's 41 inches, right? Yeah, 41 inches. So longer trunk for the coupe indeed. So flatter, but longer. And you also lose some of the leader figures here because you cannot put this one, you know, you cannot change it that much. So overall, then leader figure comparison is 600 liters for the GLC SUV and 545 here for the coupe. A little bit less for this plug-in hybrid here. This is the plug-in hybrid actually. And then on top, it's the same actually, but below the plug-in hybrid has just this very small hole here. And the normal non-plug-in hybrids would have even more space than here underneath. The seat folding mechanism is really cool. You have this button right here, and then, yeah, look at that. Also on the other side, that's a very easy solution and also goes completely flat. And to the seats, as I would be driving, that's substantial, it's almost 185 in meters or then 73 inches. Yeah, that's the under hood, has to be, right? Then opening the hood. About the engines, you get 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol and diesel engines, and also plug-in hybrid, both for petrol and diesel. And then there will be the 6-cylinder diesel, mainly because the German market still asks for it for towing and so on. 2.5 tons is the maximum towing capacity. The plug-in hybrid's a little bit less at around 2 tons. And now I'm passenger with Dominik Vogt, the team leader for testing for mid-sized vehicles at Mercedes. I'm not driving myself because at this point it's not allowed yet with the GLC Coupe, but he is the guy who has been doing the testing. So this technology highlight of the rear axle steering is something that makes the car more agile at lower speeds and more stable at higher speeds, and especially reduce that turning circle. What else have you done if you compare it to the predecessor generation with this new GLC Coupe here now?
Yes, concerning the suspension, we have the complete air suspension that we developed for the S-Class. So we have a very comfortable ride comfort if you drive in the comfort mode. And if you change to the sports mode, you have a very strong and stable and sporty behavior of the car.
It is actually the air suspension from the S-Class. Is it like the very same one? Or?
It's the very same one with different parameters.
So platform-wise, the GLC is not only closely related to the C-Class, but then also even to an S-Class?
That's right. The S-Class was the first car of Mercedes rear architecture 2. Then we brought the C-Class, but in the C-Class, for example, we don't have the air suspension.
So another thing that, especially concerning higher speeds, you also worked on NVH, noise, vibration, harshness.
Right.
That's it, yeah. So basically means it's more silent, especially at higher speeds. So how much more silent is it in comparison to the predecessor, and how did you achieve that? Like what did you do?
Especially higher speed, there we have the air noise around the car, and what we brought in the GLC SUV and the coupe, we put the mirrors on the door. And not here. We have what we call bitumen Dopplerbleche. It's a kind of bitumen.
Listen and repeat. Bitumen Dopplerbleche.
that's Daimler speech, but it's on the tunnel, and so we reduce with that new measure the noise of the engine.
So it's like a double sheet that is isolating the noise from the
double sheet, and between the two sheets there is bitumen.
Interesting.
Yeah. In addition to that, it's also a thing that we did first with the S-Class. we have foam in the pillar, and so we have a very good noise vibration behavior. Also,
once again, rear axis steering here. Look at that! Wow, that's almost turning like
an A-Class.
Standstill. Yeah, that's really amazing. So I have been also testing this vehicle here. Is the normal SUV shape so far, of course. You can tune into the episode of that. And I really felt that this is also what's setting it apart from the competitors, because the competitors don't have it in this segment actually. So, and when you have this combination of air suspension and rear axle steering, you have more comfort, at the same time more agility, and also like this parking in and out, basements, garage, and so on. I will drive this one here myself very soon. And so far you can tune in to the GLC SUV review or also the comparison to the X3.